Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's talk about crypto and what it's doing at the moment. So, if we look at the 8 hour chart, we actually landed on a 9 sell. It was a perfected 9. Look at that. I mean, that's textbook right there. We broke above the red dots, boom, right into a 9. So, this could mean we get a 1 to 4 candle correction, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hopefully continue higher. So basically, we're either going to flag out and continue higher, or this is going to be a little bit more complex correction, meaning like an A, right? We get a B and then we get a C, something a little bit bigger. So that's really what it boils down to. I mean, could it be a reversal? Yeah, it could be a reversal too, but I don't think so. I mean, the worst case scenario that I see is coming back down to 68K and back testing this area. I think that would be not bad at all. If you take a retracement here, I bet that's right around the 618. Look at that, right in the 618. That's why when you break out, right, when you break out of here, you want to break out pretty big, right? So that if you do have to come down to the 618, well, guess what? That's also the back test area of this, this little range we built. So if this is a reversal 9, we could come all the way down to the 618 and then hopefully continue much higher. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it at the moment. I mean, if we look real close at this, right, there's nothing, I mean, there's nothing to be concerned about too much as far as the price dumping, except, I mean, you kind of get these little descending triangles, right? And now you get this triangle in here, right? We could break down, get another, I mean, that looks like what it's doing, but we count waves, right? So we have 1, 2, 3. I mean, we have a 3-wave move. So if we have 3 down and this is 1, 2, let's get 3 up, okay? And then we can get 5 down or 3 down, A, B, C, then go. So is it possible that this is A, B, C, it's done? Well, yeah, it could be a 1, 2, but it needs to prove itself by getting a nice impulse to the upside, a 3, 4, and a 5, right? We could get something like that. If we go up to the 1 hour, we just put the RSI on. We don't have any bearish divergence. Look at the RSI. It actually went right back down to the 50. So there's a good chance that we could come up like this. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5, right? And the RSI kind of seeps down a little bit. Then it comes back up. Then we get that bearish divergence between the 3rd and the 5th, as you would expect, before a much bigger sort of flagging out. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but so far so good. This is exactly what we need Bitcoin to do. On the broader sense of things, when we look at it, right, let's go to the daily chart. We could see basically, what we talked about yesterday. This could be a diag, right? So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, right? It's kind of like a rising wedge, and ultimately this would mean a much larger 3-wave correction to the downside, getting us back to like, maybe between 60 and 63K. I mean, it'd be pretty significant. And you would basically, it would come down to this area right here, right? So all of this rally would be taken back. And how can is there any confluence to support that? Well, the altcoins for sure. Now, I'm not saying this is the count. I mean, let me show you the other count first, and then we'll show some confluence with this. So I look at this like, okay, if this is a 1 and this is a 2, and this is a 1. Let's say this is not a 1 2 1 2, but rather that's a 1 2, and this is 1 2 of the third. So we have 1 2 of the third, right? There's your 2, and now we're going up into the third. Well, if that's the case, this thing, you know, it's going to flag out a little bit, continue higher, flag out a little bit, continue higher to get that third wave extension, right? So in other words, this would be 1 of 3, and this would be, you know, 3 of 3, and then we would go 4 and then 5, right? And then 4 and 5 again for the final wave. But let's take things one step at a time, right? So another thing we can look at is just take a horizontal line right here, like we talked about, 69K. As long as we stay above that, right? Look, guys, we officially broke. We officially broke this high right here, and this high is very important because this was the high that had that big liquidation, right? That big drawdown. So the fact that we broke above and we're staying above, that tells me, hey, this is pretty significant, right? So another thing we can do is simply just focus on these two highs, which in my opinion are the most important highs of this correction. It's not this high, right? It's not this high. It's these two highs. Why? Because you have 1 2 1 2. These are very significant right here, and that's actually right where we are. So let me take this, and I'm going to put this black line all the way down to the first close right there. So it's okay if we go through the wicks, right, as long as we're above the close. So then I look at the candle right now, and you can see, look at this, we broke out, and then the following candle, like usually what happens is we have a red candle that comes back, test it 50%. It's exactly what we did, right? Not only that, but we back tested this black line, which is the top of these all these closes up here, right? So that's very important, I think. So if we can stay above this line, it's going to make it even more bullish, right? So and that would fall under the camp of a 1 2 1 2, right? And this is 1 2 3 4 5, right? Maybe we flag out a little bit, and then we continue to impulse. But the point is, we either want to flag out in here, right? That way we can reset the momentum. We can reset the oscillators like the RSI, the MACD, right? We can cool off the CMF. We can, we cool off things and basically reset the momentum. That way, when we go higher, when we bust out of here, now we're coming from up. We're coming from here, right? And we have a lot more momentum for that third wave. See, the problem with breaking out right now is that we came down from over here. So we're pumping. Anytime you have a wave, a pullback, a wave, a pullback, you're stalling momentum. We want the most amount of momentum possible when we officially break out, right? But if we've already been climbing since September, I mean, seriously, we've been going up since September, right? Up. So it wouldn't be such a bad thing if we flagged out in here, right? And then broke out, right? That if we did that, I promise you, we would get a much bigger third wave. And is there any confluence with that? Well, yeah, what we just said, the diagonal 1 2 3 4 5, right? And then we start flagging out, and then we go. And then you can kind of see, a little bit of a shoulder ahead, and then this flagging out would be the right shoulder, which would basically, give us hopefully a big breakout to the upside. If we kind of set right here and consolidate and pump higher, that's fine. But rest assured, we're probably going to have a big dump all the way back down to back test this area, right? And maybe even fall beneath before going higher. So it's kind of like either way, we're going to get something like that. Unless we get some major news event like a God candle and that just breaks us past 85K and we just flag out, we hit the high, and then it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're finished. We consolidate. We have a big alt season right in here, and then it's all over. I mean, it could happen quick, right? So let me show you the others chart, basically all the altcoins outside of the top 10, right? So where's the confluence in this? So if we put on Bitcoin side by side, you can see, look at this. We're correlated, but look, now Bitcoin's breaking out and the altcoins are going down. So who's telling the truth, right? Why are they all correlated in here and now one's breaking out and one's going down? So who's telling the truth? Is it the altcoin market, which is inherently bearish, right? Well, I think they're both telling the truth, obviously. I mean, but the thing is we're getting divergence, right? So let me take, for example, if this is a diag, right, and we have to flag out in here, how would that translate into the altcoins? Well, just like, remember THETA, I'm going to show you THETA real quick. See, THETA already hit the points for me because what I wanted is an A, B, C. So you see how we had 3 up, right? And then we had 3 down, and we actually came right back down to support. That's exactly what we wanted, right? Which would complete our base, right? 3 up, 3 down, and then ultimately you want to come up and then break out, right? But the problem is, here's the problem. When you look, let's take THETA off, and then let's take Bitcoin, or we can leave Bitcoin there. The problem is THETA came all the way back down to support, but look at others. It didn't, right? But we still had 3. You could see the 3-wave shape, which is pretty bullish, right? If you look closely, we have that 3-wave shape in there. So there's 2 things. Either it's going to be more complex, right? And get us back down to here, or that 3-wave move, 1, 2, 3, is sufficient enough. So we have 3 up, right? And we have 3 down, and then we have this impulse, and maybe we flag out a little bit, and then we continue breaking higher. But then it would look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looked like a diag, and then we would have to flag out. And there's a fractal that somebody actually brought up. They commented. So if you're listening to this and you know the Chainlink fractal, and someone said, hey, check out Chainlink back in 2020. So I went ahead and did so, and I go, you know what? You're right. You're totally right. Look at this. It actually looked really good, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But essentially what I'm trying to say here with Bitcoin is, if this is a diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, and we have to flag out substantially, then I could see this being 3 down, and then we get 3 up, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. That ultimately gets us back down to the bottom of the range, right? And that would complete our Wyckoff range. So let me draw that a little better. So we have 3 down, right? Maybe we get 3 up, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, get us back down to this part of the range, right? Then maybe even a little bit of a liquidity grab. We come back up, we play around a little bit, then we break out. And this whole thing would be Wyckoff accumulation. And you can see it very clearly. So now what this is it's 3 up, and then we get 1, 2, 3 down, and then we get that 5 up. You see what I mean? So that is my huge warning that I'm giving everybody right now, is I'm letting you know that's a very real possibility, and even likely because, like, again, when you look at THETA, it already did that. So that's why it's a little bit challenging, right? Let me remove Bitcoin here So when you look at theta, right, we did 3 up and we got 3 down, and it got us back down to the bottom of the range, which basically allowed what? A base, right? It's all about building a base. The bigger the base, the higher in space. You're building that base, that launch pad. You're building layers and layers of steel support, right? So that when you build your skyscraper in New York City, it doesn't fall down, right? So you got to have a strong base. And the same with price. So how does that look? Like if for example, if we got, because I'm trying to, it's a jigsaw puzzle, really, when you think about it, because crypto is a much more challenging than, for example, some of the stock market. Because usually stock markets, a lot of times they're not correlated. A lot of them are, but they sort of, trade based off earnings, based off different factors within the company. Crypto is like, you have to kind of plug all the pieces in together, right? Especially the altcoins. The altcoins give you the most amount of risk, but they also give you the most amount of reward. But with that reward comes a lot of, trying to figure out things in regards to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has to stay healthy. The total 3, the others have to stay relatively, healthy. So when you see, for example, like theta back down at the bottom here, and if we had to come all the way down, for example, we have 3 down, let's say we get 3 up, and then we work our way down, right? Essentially an ABC back down to support, like theta did, support. Okay, if we have to come down here, right, maybe we get a bounce, but then what happens is, maybe if we do come down, what happens to something like theta? Since it's already back down at the lows, it could then result in, like, you can see a head and shoulders right here. You see that? It could result in that, and we can actually break this to the downside and make a new low, right? But if we did that, and we got total 3 back down here, and we have a new low, I'm all in. Forget about dollar cost averaging at that point. That's when you go all in, because at that point, for me, it's sealed the deal, right? At that point, I'm expecting a huge retracement to the upside, and I'm expecting total 3 to go absolutely crazy as well. So this is kind of like worst case scenario, something bad happens and we have to come down. Now, on the flip side to that, when we look at like a fractal, somebody pointed out in the comments, and I'll pull it up right now. But let me show you the screenshot first. So this is the screenshot I took of Chainlink here, and I'm basically comparing it to something like total 3, and you can see it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks pretty spot on here. But you know what? The first time I saw this, it gave me the impression of SHIB. So I'll show you that as well. I mean, this looks exactly like what SHIB is doing right now. But yeah, you can see it pretty clearly, right? We make a top here, make a top, come down, flag out, hit the low, roll over, hit another low. Same thing, top, flag out, hit the low, roll over, hit another low, right? And then what do? We're basically, oscillating in this channel. And then what do we have to do? We have to break down before going higher. So that could be something we do, which would be good because it would save coins like THETA and other coins that are more sort of at their lows, right? It would save them from having to do that. So if we can pump this a little bit higher, right, you can see we have 1, 2, 1, 2, right? We have another 1, and then another 2, another 1, another 2, and then we hit the high, come down to the low, hit the high, come down to the low, and then have 1, 2, 3 up, and then we get 1, 2, 3 up, right? And then we basically flag out in here, right? Like we did over here. We had an A, B, C. So A, B, C, and then we continue higher. And then we don't have to come back down to the lows. That would make sense, right? And then we would blast off. So those are the two ideas. So here's the live chart here, and here they are side by side. So yeah, I mean it's definitely. I'm thank you for pointing that out. It is a decent fractal here. Although, I mean, I'm not sure if it's. I'm not sure how it's going to roll. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. What would need to happen is we would need to hit the high here and basically do something like this, right? Flag out and go. So, yeah, I think it's definitely a contender. So if that's the case, right, and let's put theta on real quick. And essentially, and I'm using theta as an example for coins that actually had their three-way move, right? Where other ones, you know, basically stayed near the top of their range. So if this thing is going to break out, right, it's all about game plan. It's all about having a strategy. It's all about kind of playing things out in your head, saying, okay, if this, then this, if this does this, right? It kind of gives us a little bit of an idea of what to expect based off what happens, right? So essentially we would see theta start to push higher, right? And then maybe another high, pull back, maybe another high. And then when we get this flagging out in here, that's when theta comes back down and sort of back test the top of its range before breaking out. So I actually like that better. I hope that plays out because, you know, if we have to do something like this, right, when theta already did it, right, then it means we could lose the low. And if we lose the low, then my worry is we would have to build a whole new base before breaking out. But I don't think so. I think it would be a quick reversal, if that. Because you have to look at Bitcoin, right? I mean, if Bitcoin is breaching the all-time high and there's no euphoria, there's no you know, sentiment is still kind of down in the gutter because of the altcoins, right? People, it's not like laser eyes and diamond hands and let's go to the moon. That's not what this is. It's more like, okay, you know, Bitcoin's at the all-time high. You know, this is the calm before the storm, guys. That's what it is. So things are really just kind of chilled out. And that's what we want. Because if everybody was jumping up and down with euphoria, then I would be a little bit concerned because too many people are bullish. Remember, most people have to be wrong in order for the move to occur. Because if everybody longed the market right now, you'd probably have a big collapse, right? So everybody has to be kind of leaning bearish so that when we get the break, it's unexpected. Right, we need surprises, right? Crypto thrives on surprises. So let's see how the next week plays out. But let me show you SHIB, and I'm going to show you. Let's see. I haven't looked at it yet, but I want to see if it matches up with if my memory serves me well. I want to see if this matches up here. And if it does, that's actually a good thing. The reason why is because if SHIB is pointing to the upside, then maybe we do get something like this with others, right? So let's look at SHIB here. Okay, yeah, you see it. Let me go down to, let's go down to the 4-hour chart. There it is. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at that, guys. Wow. See, you never know. That's why you gotta you know, always read the comments. And I do. I always do. Sometimes I don't get to reply or get to react to them, but I do see the comments, and I'm glad you pointed that out because now that I see this, right? I mean, he was talking about Chainlink, comparing it to others, but then when I saw it, I was like, no, that looks like SHIB, but it also too looks like others, so that's a good thing, right? So, I mean, wow, look at that. So what do we see here? I mean, this is like perfect. Look at this. So if that's the case, then where's SHIB going? It's going to the upside. And if that's the case, where's others going? It's continuing higher. And if that's the case, where's THETA going? It's going, you know what I mean? They all tell a story, right? So if one is saying a bullish story, then chances are the other one is too. And if one isn't and is telling a bearish story, then you have to figure out who's telling the truth. Right? Kind of like that show. I seen a clip of a show. I think it was like Anthony Anderson and his mama. Like who done it or who's telling the truth or whatever. Like 3 people come on stage and like one of them says, you know, I climbed Mount Everest or something. And then you have to figure out who actually is the climber, who actually climbed it. You know, I don't know. It's kind of cool. But anyways, I digress. So, yeah, if I look at this wave right here, boom, right? We broke the high, we back test. Or we don't back test, but we pull back. Same thing here. We broke the high, and now we pull back. And then, so if this fractal is going to hold true, it may or may not, right? Because again, if Bitcoin is having selling pressure, then it usually invalidates bullish fractals, right? So it all depends. But you know, I really like the look of it. So if I had to guess, it would be, if I had to match it up, I mean, it would be something like this, and then a dump down. So maybe that could be a potential longing opportunity. So yeah, let's see what happens. So if we look at this move right here, and let me you could see like a 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You have the big move, right? But this looks like an ABC. Maybe we get A, and then we come up B, and then we come down C, and then we go. So, I mean, it could be a couple different things. I wouldn't jump on it too hard just yet. Remember, this is not financial advice. It could be totally wrong. I mean, this thing can come all the way back down to here, right? So we don't really know yet. Just, you know, we can't base a trade just off a fractal, right? But man, it does look pretty good. So, and that this is a common correction, right? This is a running flat. So, 3-wave move. So anyway, let's take this off. I had a couple requests. So let's look at those charts. But before I do that, we got to look at our favorites, right? Which is THETA, XRP. And again, with THETA, I mean, I love the 3-wave move. I mean, I really love it. And the reason I do is because we got right back down to support. And another reason is because we're building a range in here. So if we can start, what I want to see from THETA is I want to see, let me just remove everything. What I want to see is a little bit of a base, a little bit of oscillation in here, right? And then I want to start to see it curling back to the upside. And then I want to see it play around and then break out, right? So that's kind of how, that's kind of how I'm looking at it, is getting back up here. So what happens in here? Probably just consolidation, right? I don't see us spiking up super fast. You know, we had a big dump here, so we got to get away from the scene of the crime, right? It's kind of like, you know, a massive crime happens and you're like, oh, I had nothing to do with that. Let me just walk away. I'm busy right now. You know, you're just kind of getting away from it. So, yeah, let's just range in here for a little while. So that's basically what I have for THETA. Now, is there a chance this could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, but I don't know. I think the low is in. If worst case scenario, we have like an ABC down in here, we just really want to hold this low. We don't want to break it, right? So think about this like 3 up, 3 down, right? And then we get 5 up and then go. So something like along those lines. People have been asking for like targets for theta and things like that. And I don't like, I mean, I can give you a standard target, right? But to get an accurate, super precise target, you actually need more of a wave structure. But if we're not talking all-time highs, then yeah, we can do a pretty standard retracement here. I mean, the first target is $2.68. I mean, that's my target. You know, just getting back to that 618, right? If we can break the $3 range, then the target becomes $5 to $6. So basically, if you break 3, you get 5 to 6. If you break 5 to 6, we can get 8 to 10, right? But, you know, that's for another day. We don't, you know, a lot of people want targets right away, and I don't blame them. I do too. I want to know the potential. I want to know, when I invest my hard-earned money, what is the target that I can get as far as a return. That way I know if I want to do that or not. And the best way to do that is just simply go to the main chart, right? And then just take a fib extension. But here's the thing, like, in order to get more accurate targets, I'll show you that in just a second, but just take the main fib right there and look at that. $10 is the 618. That should be between 8 and 10 is bare minimum. I'm not selling any of my hodl position. We have to at least clear 8 to 10, if not actually the all-time high, right? Depending on how the wave structure looks up here, right? Because, I mean, we're still far away. I mean, you know, just to get back to the all-time high, guys, just to get back to the all-time high, we're talking, you know, almost 1,400%, right? So that's a long ways away. So, but if we get 1,400%, you know, that's technically a pretty big bull run, right? I mean, but I really would like to see it break out. But here's the thing: if we're starting from all the way here and we go up 1,400%. Right? Don't you think we're got to go into reaccumulation and then break out later on? I mean, it really depends how it moves up, right? So, for example, if we had like a 1-2, like a 1-2-1-2, right? And then let's say this comes up 3, 4, and 5, and then we start to flag out in here. What I would do is I would take a fib from here, I would pull it all the way to the top, and then I would drag it down to here, and that would give me a more accurate target, is all I'm saying. So that's kind of what I like to wait for. But in the meantime, I think we can get at least to, you know, first of all, we have to retrace this move down. I want to see a retracement. Once we break that retracement, then we need to work on this wave, getting this retracement back up to here, right? And then once we get there, then we can really reassess things and see how they are. So, but anyways, by the way, THETA had a big dump. You know, it's down almost 10% today, while everything else is kind of, you know, a little bit down. But THETA had a big, and I'm like, what the heck, man? That's a big drop. So, and it's actually my fault because I wasn't paying attention. Because when you look, I don't really read the news so much. But here's the problem. Here's why THETA might struggle to stay above $5. Basically, the company or the blockchain unlocked 890 million tokens, or $890 million worth, or I'm not sure, a token unlock. Basically, they unlocked a lot of tokens. So here's the problem, and this is what I want to say. Here's the problem with things like that. Well, you can say, okay, I'm going to sell and get out, and that's fine. But also, if people knew it was coming, a lot of times it's already priced in, But the token unlock was supposed to be today, right? So we had a big flood of tokens entering the market today, which if that's the case, then let's see how it absorbs that supply, right? I mean, worst case, this is a three-way move. Maybe we get a little bit lower and we come back down to the low. As far as breaking this to the downside, I mean, it's going to take a lot to break it, but it's definitely possible. But it could be kind of like a sell the news or buy the news, or no, sell the news event, right? But it's actually the reverse. So it's actually bearish news that comes out, and that's what happens, right? I mean, that's bearish news, and it usually comes at bottoms, right? So for me, I haven't sold yet, but if it gets much nastier, I might consider selling it, because, for example, you can see, I mean, we have a three-wave move. We have an impulse, and we have a three-wave pullback. And they decided to unlock it right at the support. So it kind of makes me think maybe, we get a retracement first. If we come up in a retracement, we get rejected, then I can consider getting rid of it. But for now, I think it's holding up okay. We can kind of see, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A, B, C, right? You kind of have that already. We also have some bullish divergence here and there, right? It's not too much, but it's there. So yeah, it's kind of a wait and see thing. I mean, again, we're right at support. So if this thing comes up in 3, it comes down, it comes up, it gets rejected in here, and we struggle, I probably would let it go just to, kind of wait and see how the market reacts to it. But again, it's already out in the open. People know about it. So we'll see how everything gets priced in. But let's look at XRP. XRP is actually doing really nice. Much better than I thought. Because the sentiment kind of got crushed with the appeal, and then when you broke the low, it kind of added to it. But look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the low is in, right? And then we have this nice pump to the upside, and basically it's kind of doing what Bitcoin's doing. If I put up Bitcoin side by side, it's got the same little stature here, right? Versus like if this was pulling back and XRP was dumping, then you can know that's how you kind of tell, like, okay, the altcoins are much more fragile at this point. But I don't see them being, more sensitive, right? So I don't think they're as sensitive as they were a couple weeks ago. I think things are starting to level off a little bit, especially of how oversold a lot of the alt BTC pairs are. So there's going to be, again, there's divergence, so there's going to be some catching up. So yeah, if Bitcoin pops the high, I can see XRP doing it too. Or we can get something like an ABC, right? So we have 3 up, maybe we get 3 down, right? And then we get 5 up. So we'll see about that. So let's keep moving on here. Look at IMX. It looks very similar to others, right? You have 3 up, you have 3 down. But the 3 down didn't get us back down here, which is okay. But, it could be that others fractal where we kind of do this and then we flag out and then go. But all in all, I like the 3-wave move. It looks nice. It's a beautiful 3-wave shape. So let's see how that plays out. We already talked about Bitcoin. Look at the last 4 hours. The 4-hour candle just started about 30 minutes ago, about the time I started the video. And look at that. We got a little bit of a pump here. Let's go a little bit closer here. Look at that. We got a little bit of a pump. So what I said here was maybe we get 3 down and maybe we get 3 up, and then we get 5 down later. It could be also a 1-2. So we have to see how this wave reacts, because once we get into the retracement levels, right, I just take a fib extension here and I go all the way down to the retracement levels. We're right at the 50%. So let's see if we can get towards the 618 and the 702, and we'll see how it reacts. But other than that, it's kind of like a wait and see moment, you know. I would imagine a lot of people are continuing to buy. Look at, we came down, right? We had an ABC pullback and we back tested this previous area. We bounced off, we pulled back, and now we're bouncing again. So it's still it's still healthy, right? It's not like it came up and it was a big trap and then it sold off immediately, right? So I'm curious to see what SHIB will do. You know, we just looked at that fractal. I'm curious to see if that fractal plays out, right? And if we can get another pump to the upside. So I'll be watching for that. Puffer. I was holding it for a little bit, and then I kind of got rid of it, you know, because I kind of felt like, I don't know about this one. But now, I look at it now, and it actually looks pretty cool. The reason why is because you have this impulse, and you're like cupping right into the resistance here. So if you notice right here on the 20-minute chart, how we came up like this, and we slammed down, right? I thought for sure, that was going to be like an ABC. So I let go of it. But we came up, we took the top, we came back down, and now we're sort of chilling right here. So let's see how this plays out. But what I would do is I would wait for like an A, B, C. I would wait for something like that. So you get 3 up, right? And then you get 3 down. And if we can get down here, then I probably could get back in. But I mean, or it could just do like a little bit of a handle, like a cup and a handle. I mean, so we'll see how it breaks out. I'm curious, where is the retracement on this? It's right at, yeah, it looks like we tagged the 702 and we got rejected. Now we're sitting on the 50. So we got some work to do with that one. The first coin someone asked me to look at was this one. I don't know, Pulse X. So now here we are, we're in rapid fire. Okay, so I haven't looked at this chart, but what I can see is a lot like the other charts. You got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I like this right here. You see that right there? How you had like 3 up, and this is a good example for theta, worst case scenario, right? Remember what we talked about, right? How, if that other's fractal played out, or if it didn't play out, and Bitcoin had a more of a reversal, right? Or the diagonal. Remember the diagonal thing with Bitcoin, and then we had to flag out what would happen during the altcoins with that. Well, if we pull up theta real quick, so you can see right here, right, how we had 3 up, or I'm sorry, so we had 3 up and then we had 3 down, but this actually broke the low right here. So what I'm saying is, if we break the low, remember I said I'm all in? Remember that? Well, look what happened to Pulse X when it broke the low. That was a liquidity grab, and we skyrocketed to the upside. So that's what I'm saying. Like if we had a worst case scenario where theta had to break to the downside, that's where I'm all in, because I would imagine we would get something big. And I'm glad I'm looking at this chart, because it sort of, is a good, it's a good reminder of what could happen. So I'm looking at Pulse X. It looks bullish. I mean, look at this. We got a big wave to the upside. We got a 3-way pullback, a big impulse. We're flagging out. I mean, it looks bullish. I think once this finishes, it's gonna break out. Or let's look at the smaller time frames here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have an AB, and now we have this move to the upside. So what I want to see is I want to see it come down in an ABC. I want to see it flag out, and then long it to the upside. And I think we can get back to the retracement levels at least. But watch out, because it could get more complex. For example, we can get 3 down, and then we can get 3 up, and then we can get 5 down. So like an ABC, and then go, right? So it's all about what happens in the retracement levels. That's always the tricky part. But yeah, so far it looks pretty good. You have this big wave here. I would just cut it in half, and that would be, you know, if I'm trying to buy it. So, but I'm not sure. It's Pulse X, wrapped Pulse on Pulse Chain. I'm not sure if you can even get it on the other exchanges. Jupiter. If you ever watch the show Spartacus, every time I hear Jupiter now, it reminds me of Spartacus. And I won't repeat it, but it's hilarious. Okay, so Jupiter. Let me zoom out on it. Oh wow, it's a baby. It was just born a couple months ago. Cute little baby. Yeah, I think it's decent. You know, we have an impulse, right? We have a 3-way pullback. But it looks like this could be a B wave. So a B wave. So if this is A and this could be B, maybe we go up a little bit more and then we get some kind of running flat, or A, B, C, and then go down here. I mean, that would be kind of the bearish way to look at it. The more bullish way to look at it is it's an AB, it's done, and then we have like this 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and now maybe another 1, 2 in here before breaking out. I do like the base. I mean, it did build a nice base. I mean, you could even say, you know, the move to the upside, move to the downside, and now another move to the upside. So, yeah, 3 up, 3 down, 5 up. But I wouldn't buy it right now because we're at resistance, right? So if we look at the small time frames, it looks still bearish, right? It looks like A, B, C. That's what it needs, right? It could be a running flat. It could be an expanded flat. Or it could be 3 down, 3 up, and then we get 5 down. So, you know, it's one of those things where you just kind of have to wait. You have to wait for a good entry. For example, if this came down like this and we tag this area, I mean, that's a dollar cost averaging buy in my book, right? And then if it does end up more complex, then at least, you know, you're averaging in, right? So, but honestly, the better way to look at it is on the daily chart, because when you look, it looks pretty bullish here. Because if I take this, look at that, we broke out and we back tested. So as long as we're above that downward resistance line, right, it looks pretty good. The measured move, I think, I mean, if you measure it as a triangle, you could say yeah, back to the all-time high, right? But if you're trying to get more of an accurate target, you can put it from here to there, down to here. And I would at least target the 1-to-1 at $2.12. So that's about a 2x. And $3, that's about a 3x. Yeah, so 3x. And then, you know, if we break through that, then you're looking at even higher prices. So I'm not sure what the market cap is on it. I don't think it's too much. Let's see, Jupiter. Oh, okay, yeah, it's 1 billion, 1.3 billion. So it's not too much of a baby. It's still pretty big market cap. So if it wants to get to $10, then that's what, like a $10 billion market cap? Yeah, I mean, I could see a 10x on Jupiter, and I've seen a couple people talk about it. So I don't even know what it is. What does it do? Maybe you can let me know in the comment. What is Jupiter? Somebody asked for this one, I can't even say, Agoros. I don't like it a lot. I don't like it a lot because, you know, there's no pullback, right? We had this move, a little bit of a pullback. I think what's going on here, let me see. Let me look at the smaller time frames. Okay, I think what we have is probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that's the case, then we need like an ABC in here before going higher. So I want to see it flag out a little bit. So if you look at it from a range perspective, we didn't really build a base. You know, we're at the top of the range, at the bottom, you know, that's the bottom. So yeah, that's a tough one. I think, you know, if Bitcoin breaks out, you're gonna get some higher prices, but ultimately this looks like a 5-wave move, so you need a 3-wave pullback, right? So the only way I would buy this coin is if we got all the way back down to $1.80 or even $2. Then I would buy it. But if you're already holding it, I mean, you know what? It is what it is. You can see like a little bit of a inverse head and shoulders. There's your shoulder, there's your head, there's your shoulder there. I mean, yeah, this thing can get going. But for me, I don't feel comfortable buying it. Not yet. But ultimately, right, I'm expecting this to have a retracement of at least $6. You know, $6.50. So that would be my macro target. Now, how does it get there? That's another question, right? But ultimately, higher prices. Now, I don't know if this is the right chart. Maybe there's more history that I'm not seeing right now, but yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. So the next one would be GPU, Node AI USDT. I don't know what this one is. Maybe you can let me know what this one is. Anything with AI is interesting to me. But let's see here. Yeah, we got a nice little downward resistance line here, and essentially we're kind of flagging out. I mean, I don't really like this 3-wave move. I wish it was more of a 5-wave move. But let's say it is 5. We have an impulse, and now we're flagging out. So eventually this thing should break to the upside. I mean, you would think. As far as the wave structure goes, it's a little bit choppy. We have, well, there's 3 there, okay, and then here's 3 here. So we have 3 down, 3 up. Maybe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. We break the low, and then we go. Just like that pulse chain, I think, that other chart we just looked at. Remember that, right? So we can easily come down, break it, and then shoot to the upside. So if we get something like that, look out for that. I would definitely buy it then, right around maybe 40 to 50 cents. I would imagine right in there, and that would be A, B, C. So looks good. All right, next one. Well, I think that was it. V-chain. Oh, the other one would be La Vida, I think. La Vida. Yeah, there's not really much here, man. I don't know about this one. There's not a really good wave structure here. I mean, you kind of creating a little bit of a base, but yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, unless there's another chart out there that maybe another chart has more history. Let me know in the comments if there is, and I'll look at that chart, because I only see two. I'll try the Bitmart one. Let's see. This one has a little bit more history, but still, it's not that good, man. I mean, you're right down at the lows, so that could be, I mean, that's helpful, right? And you kind of do have a 1, 2, 3 wave move to the downside. I mean, yeah, it could be, this could be accumulation here. So if it breaks a low, probably a retrace. If not, probably a retrace. But I just don't know. I just don't know enough about it to make an educated decision on it. The next one would be T-drop. Okay, so I haven't looked at T-drop in a little bit. Let's see what. Whoa, look at that wick right there. That probably wiped out a lot of people. Everybody he was long in there. Wow. T-drop. Whoops, let's go up to the 5-day. So what we have working with it is you have this base, you have a breakout, and you have a back test. I like the wick because it was a liquidity grab. It grabbed it, and it looks like a 1-2. So ultimately, maybe a little bit higher for a retracement. And let's see if I go down to a smaller time frame, and if I click this and I get rid of the wicks, you can kind of see a little bit more of the wave structure here. And I mean, it looks decent. Obviously this is a 5-wave move, and then this is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? That's a crashing structure. And then what I see is I see 3 up, and what I want to see is 3 down. And if we can get 3 down, then I would say 5 up. But ultimately, I want to see this thing come back down to support. 1, 2, 3. And then start moving its way back up to the retracement level. So that would be my main idea. Finish the 3, because we have 3 up. Let's get 3 down, and then let's work our way back up. All right, so for ICP, yeah, it's a little bit of a tough one too, because I don't really have a solid 3 waves. You know, here's my support here. So this is kind of where I would buy at support. So maybe you get like a 1, 2, 3 back down. Obviously the 3 waves could be finished, but I mean, it looks like we're coiling in here, right? It looks like we're kind of, you know, coiling in here. So which way is it going to break? I mean, I think it's going to break to the upside. But all in all, there's not too much wave structure. I mean, you kind of have a 3-wave move. Boom, boom, boom. It's not proportional the way I like it. So the bearish side, I would see an A, B, and then a C. Back down to support and then go higher. On the bullish side, I can see this already being finished, but it needs to prove itself. It needs to break this range. Once we break this range, I'll come back with an update. Okay, and the final request I had was Sui. And Sui, by the way, hit that like button if you can. I mean, I just crossed that hour mark. It kills the algorithms when I do that. Or either that people, they see 1 hour and psychologically, I don't want to watch that because it's just too long. I'm not going to finish. But the thing is, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Really, my whole when you click on my videos, you're pretty much going to get all the information in the first 10 minutes when I talk about Bitcoin. So you can just simply translate what I said with the first 10 minutes onto the rest of the market, right? But as I go deeper and deeper into the video, I get more in depth of different altcoins, right? So, anyways, Sui, you're right back at the all-time high, right? You have a 1, you have a 2, you have a 3. It looks like we're flagging out for 4, and then we get 5. I mean, that's kind of how I see it. Now, how does it get there? I mean, that's a little bit of a challenging thing, because the wave structure is a little bit. I mean, look at this. That's a little bit challenging. But if this is this could be an A, B, C. It could be like a weird running flat or a weird flat, A, B, C, and that could be your 4th wave. And here's wave 1. We get wave 2. And then we can go 3, 4, and 5, right? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. If it's going to be bullish, the bear side to this would be you have 3 down or 5, and then you have some kind of B wave, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for C. So a much larger A, B, C, and then go higher. So I wouldn't really touch it right now simply because here's point A, here's point B. You're right in the middle here. So it can really go either way. And since we came up, it's more likely to come down. Sui is kind of a different category because it just, when you think it's pretty much finished, it continues to go. So it's one of those very bullish coins that I've noticed. Unfortunately, I didn't get in. I really wanted to get it. Look at this 3-wave move. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had a beautiful 3-wave pullback. You built a base. I mean, it was perfect. That was the time to get in. I did not get in, but that was the best time. I mean, you can see that right there. But here's the cool part. We can look at other coins out there. Right? You get a 5-wave move, a 3-wave pullback, you build a base. That's what we need to look for. So you can get these types of moves, right? Let's look at the 20-minute chart here. Yeah, that's a big 5-wave move. So my thing is either we're going to get an A, B, C, or this was an A, B, C, a flat. And now we're going to rampage to the upside. If we do hit the high, I would imagine it's finished at that point. You can see a lot of liquidity here. Look at all that liquidity right there. So if we come up and tap into that and then come down, I could see that too. So I think that should do it there. I mean, you see the doji though, right? There's your doji right there. We came right back up, right into there. So I'm thinking we're gonna flag out in here. We could come up and hit the high again, but I don't see an entry yet. Now, overall, this chart's going much higher, right? That's just what it looks like. I mean, you can see it. You can see just how bullish it is. It's right here. It wants to break out. But if this is a cup, let's get a handle. And then it would offer people like me, to get into the market. So now we are Bitcoin. Look at that bullish hammer candle, guys. Look at that daily candle. That is bullish, man. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and see what's going on. Whoa, look at that. Oh, man. Hello. Look who decided to wake up. Wow. So again, we nailed it. Look, exactly what we said in the beginning of the video. Which is what? I see 3 down, and what comes next? 3 up. And that's exactly what we got. So let's see how it reacts in here. I mean, I can't believe it happened. I mean, I can, but it happened exactly how we were just saying. So we get 3 up. Let's see how it reacts. Do we get violently rejected in here? If we do, then we should get maybe 5 down, A, B, C. If not, then I could see this, getting up here, flagging out a little bit, and then breaking out. So maybe this is all you need before a big move. Retracement levels are always tricky. So I would imagine you do hit the high, right? I think this could be, it could also be a flat. So you have 3 down. We could come up and hit the high, right? But it would kind of be out of proportion with the rest of the market. With this wave here. So if I take a trend-based fib extension from the bottom to the top, down to the bottom, look at that. We hit the 1-to-1 perfectly. So if it wants to go beyond that, right? If it wants to get to the 618, then I'm looking at it as a 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5 up to here, right? So let's see how that plays out. Now, is it affecting the altcoins at all? I mean, yeah, a little bit. I mean, looking at the 10-minute chart here on THETA, look at this. Got a little bit of a move up here. It looks like an ABC. And now it looks like a 1, 2. Maybe we can get 3, 4, and 5. And then it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we flag out and go higher. So, because at the end of the day, we do have a 3-wave move to the downside. I do like THETA because of this, right? Because we made it down here, which is important for building a base, right? And we have this 3-wave move, and we have this impulse here. So if we can keep pumping and reset, pump and reset, pump and reset, I mean, before you know it, we can be back at the swing high. So anyways, the election is next week. Hopefully you guys vote. If you want to save crypto, if you want to fire Gary Gensler, they went after Ripple, the SEC. Don't think they can't come after THETA. They will. Don't think they can't come after any other coin. They will. They're looking at it as a long-term strategy. They only have so many resources, but they're going to sue as many people as they can. And it might take 10 years before they get to your coin or somebody else's coin, but eventually they will. So we need the SEC cleaned out. And I don't think Kamala's going to do it. You ask her what's your policy. She doesn't say anything. You ask her what she's going to do differently. She cannot answer any questions. It's just so unbelievable how people, I just can't imagine her being president. I just don't get it. She's not in control of herself. If she came out and said exactly what she wanted to do and things like that, maybe we could get on board. I doubt it though. But Trump for crypto. Crypto is the main subject for me when it comes to this election. And let's see what happens. But anyway, that'll do it for this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.